Hey, everybody. Welcome to this month's edition of the Team Jabra presenting Technically Speaking. I am both your host and your presenter, Eric Taylor. Mr. Blaylock is at ISE along with probably half the world, it seems. So thank you to everybody who's joining today who is not at ISE, and sorry you're not enjoying the warm Spanish sun. In so much as I am both the host and presenter, I will go ahead and give my condolences and apologize in advance for my extremely rough PowerPoint skills. There will be some demoing and some PowerPointing going on, so just bear with me. This is not my forte, but we'll certainly make it worth your while. Joined with a couple of folks from Jabra as well, which we'll be introducing just kind of along the way. But thanks to them for riding shotgun with me. They will be available for Q&A, so at any point, just feel free to drop some questions, some comments, maybe even some smart remarks in chats. We're happy to have them. Just a few housekeeping points here that this is what we have dubbed as the unwebinar. So what that means is step up to the mic. We're here not just to talk at you, obviously we're going to be sharing some information, but we want you to be engaged with us, some Q&A. We are better conversationalists than we are podcast hosts. So come off the mic, pop some stuff in chat. Don't be shy. We do ask that you just kind of raise your hand in teams, kind of the typical cordial things that we do in the virtual world these days. Turn your camera on, turn your mics on.
I'll get a notification.
Oh, and except if you're Parker and you need to make sure you mute appropriately. We will be providing an Evolve 265 Flex, which is the world's greatest headset. I don't personally use it because it messes up my hair, but people tell me it's wonderful. We're also going to be issuing a Jabra PanaCast 20, which is the personal video camera device that you're actually seeing me on now, and a number of Jabra people using their PanaCast 20s also. All right, so now that we've got the housekeeping stuff out of the way, what are we talking about today? What are you here for? So we are going to be doing a value pack rewind and look ahead for the Jabra PanaCast 50 line of devices. Now that includes both the Jabra PanaCast 50, the USB variant that a lot of folks use for bring your own meeting, or the room systems, the Windows-based room systems for both Microsoft Teams and Zoom. But we're also going to be talking about a rewind and fast forward for the hot new video bar system, which is the Android-based variant of the PanaCast 50. So it can be difficult to sort of parse out like what these value packs are, what these service releases are. So hopefully we can kind of help put I spent a lot of time on PowerPoint, which again, is a little rough for me, but hopefully it's going to be a nice, clear outline of what these value packs are and what they're bringing. And we'll try and put this in as plain English terms as possible. Okie doke. So without further ado, let's get cranking. First thing wanted to share was the PanaCast 50 Value Pack Roadmap. Now, this dates back, as you can see, to Value Pack 1, which was May of 2022, taking us right up to the latest, which was Value Pack 4, which we dropped in October 23. And we're going to be spending some time with Value Pack 5. Now, I'm joined by Miss Victoria Perez here as well. She is with our Experiences team, and she, in my opinion, is the foremost authority on experiences here at Jabra and how they work, how our experiences in Value Pack 5 will work with Microsoft Teams and Zoom. So she's going to help bring some clarity there. So super thankful she's here because she knows more than I do. All right. But the purpose of this is really to highlight that the PanaCast 50, the USB variant specifically here, and also the video bar system continue to evolve, right? They're not just a snapshot in time. We are continuing to bring value to these devices and give you a better return on investment. We're not going to dive into these bullets on Value Pack 1 through Value Pack 3, but we're going to spend a little bit of time on Value Pack 4. So let's get started. Value Pack 4 dates back to October 3rd, 2023. Value Pack 4 is kind of what we call it internally, but if you're looking in Jabra Direct or if you're looking into digging into the device, you're going to see that denoted as Firmware 6.2.2. So what is actually in Value Pack 4? I started with the coolest thing first. I'm going to go ahead and get the painful part out of the way. This is where I stopped sharing PowerPoint and actually go into a demo. This is probably Intelligent Meeting Space is probably the feature that folks were most interested in with Value Pack 4. So what is Intelligent Meeting Space? One of the things I like to say about the PanaCast 50 is that it has that 180-degree field of view, which we are probably likely all accustomed to. The great thing about the 180-degree field of view is that it sees everything. The bad thing about the 180-degree field of view is it sees everything. So there are spaces such as those glass walls, maybe even open landscapes where you deploy the PanaCast 50. You set it in Virtual Director, Intelligent Zoom, Dynamic Composition, one of those modes, and this sucker just sees the whole room, right? People walk by the glass wall, that sort of thing, and the PanaCast 50 goes, oh, that person's in the meeting, and it tries to frame them in. That can be frustrating. So what Intelligent Meeting Space does is actually provide a virtual perimeter or dimensions for the PanaCast 50, so it will start to ignore things outside of those zones. So for anyone who hasn't actually seen this, goodness willing and the creek doesn't rise, I'm going to try and do a live demo of how you set this up and how it will behave. So this is Jabra Direct running on my PC. It's connected to a PanaCast 50, as you can see here. To set up Intelligent Meeting Space, you'll need to connect a PC to the PanaCast 50 via USB, launch Jabra Direct, and go to Settings. And there are going to be a host of new options. We'll talk about the people count here in just a second, but for Intelligent Meeting Space, we're going to go into Camera, and with Value Pack 4, it lit up or added all of these new things that you see here for Intelligent Meeting Space. So the first thing I'm going to do here is click Setup, and what's going to happen is it's going to load a preview. So here you go. You're going to see outside of the cone of safety for meetings. This is the Eric Taylor den, as it were. So now you can see that there are actually 4 human forms in this room. You got Luke, you got Lando, you got Eric, you got Han, right? So let's say we don't necessarily want the PanaCast 50 to recognize everyone in this space. So what I'm going to do is go down here. First and foremost, I'm in North Carolina. I'm in the East Coast of the United States. So I'm going to set this from meters to feet, or freedom units, as some people like to call them. And I'm going to go in and actually manipulate the depth and the width of that virtual space. Now, it's going to be difficult for you to sort of see, because this is a 180-degree field of view, but Han is actually behind me and to my right. Luke and Lando are to my left. Now, Lando is actually further back in the room than Luke. So as I'm starting to manipulate this depth and width, just kind of bear that in mind. So the shortest depth is going to be 3 feet, and the shortest width is going to be 3 feet. So now that I've defined those, there's really nobody that's within 3 feet width or depth of that PanaCast 50. Drop this little guy here to get it out of the way. So when I start to increment that depth, now I would say that the width is actually measured off the center line of that PanaCast 50. I'm going to start to increment that depth to about 4.5 feet. That's about as far as I am from the PanaCast 50. So I move a little closer, a little green circle. If I move a little bit further away, I'm more than 4.3 feet from the device. Now, Luke is closer than that 4.3 feet, but he's much further away from a width perspective. He's probably about 12, 13 feet, if I'm guessing. So I'm going to increase the width to until I see Luke. Now it sees Luke. He's 13 feet away from that PanaCast 50. So now you can see how you can sort of start to calibrate your space for what you want the PanaCast 50 to see, the bodies you want it to see. Now you notice it's not picking up Han. So Han being at a deeper depth, I'm actually going to start to increment this a little bit more. I imagine Han's about 8 or 9 feet back there. There you go. So you see, as I got to about, not a bad guess. Okay, so Han's about 6.5 feet. So right around 6.5 feet, which is probably getting to the far side of the wall for me over there, it picks up Han. Now you notice it hasn't picked up Lando yet, because like I said, Lando is actually a little bit further back in the room than Luke. So if I want to pick up Lando, I'm going to increment the width just a little bit more. and we should, there you go. And now we see Lando. So now I've kind of calibrated my space to make sure that it picks up everyone in the room. What I'm going to do is I'm going to click next, and I'm going to call this Eric's office because that seems clever. And I'm going to hit apply. And now the intelligent meeting space has been applied. So you see the current intelligent meeting space. Now, one of the cool things is if you have like multiple spaces or multiple dimensions that you want predefined, you can actually go in and select different intelligent meeting spaces that you've defined for that PanaCast 50. Now, this is probably one of the second most important things about Value Pack 4 was certification for Microsoft's Intelligent Speaker. Now, this is a little bit of a misnomer. It's Intelligent Speaker in so much that it intelligently identifies speakers within the meeting. So if you've ever been in a meeting and there's a conference room or a meeting space on the far end and you've got multiple people inside of that room, and let's say you're doing things like transcription or other AI features such as Copilot, and you want to actually attribute what individuals in that room are saying, then that's where Intelligent Speaker is going to come into play. And here's a cute little a marketing video that kind of helps you conceptualize what this is. You can see in the video that we've got the transcript running. Maybe we're using Copilot, that sort of thing. We've got Kevin, who's in the room with other people. It's just going to call him Speaker 3. But with Intelligent Speaker, which is something that you configure both on the device, both on the PanaCast 50 and in Microsoft Office or in Microsoft 365, you have to do a little bit of enrollment. You can actually get some AI-generated information on the meeting, do some transcripts. And the PanaCast 50, in so much that it is certified by Microsoft as an intelligent speaker, will allow those capabilities. Another thing that we added, and you probably saw this when I was in Jabra Direct, was the ability to toggle off people counting. So Jabra Express will allow some sort of meeting data, some information to be collected as far as how many people were in the room, when they were in the room, giving you some of those metrics around room usage. That's a really cool feature, but there are customers who don't want that. They just don't want that information to be collected. So we added the ability basically just to toggle that off within Jabra Direct. So you have the ability to do that now. In addition, we added some power management features. That was another toggle in Jabra Direct. So the PanaCast 50 prior to Value Pack 4 basically would run full power all the time, right? I think it was approximately a 12-watt consumption. When you turn on power management, that actually puts the video system into a lower power state. So it draws approximately 34% less power. So if you're a green conscious company and you want the PanaCast 50 to draw less power, you can enable the power management feature as well. And the last little thing that we sort of put in there, we sneak in a lot of enhancements and improvements in value packs. One of the things that I would call out would be sensor stability. So the PanaCast 50 has the 3 4K sensors or lenses that are stitched together to give you that full 180-degree field of view. When you're doing things like virtual director, intelligent zoom, dynamic composition, there's some intelligence happening within the algorithm that kind of determines which lens or which sensor it's going to place you in. At times, if you're kind of right there on the boundary, it can kind of sort of shift you back and forth and maybe cause some, I guess for lack of a better term, some jumpiness. So what we've done is we've improved the algorithm to reduce that jumpiness and make it more of a smooth or solid experience in the sensor changes. Probably not something you'll notice, but hopefully something you'll appreciate. Any questions on Value Pack 4? All right. So this is where we get into the fun stuff. And the reason I brought Victoria along with me today, we're going to talk about Value Pack 5. Now, notice that there is a TBD, to be determined, next to the firmware version and the release date, right? This is still undergoing development and testing. So there's no final firmware that I can give you for this. The release date is also not currently available. Let's just call it imminent, over the horizon, right? There's a lot of stuff that has to happen even outside of Jabra to make sure that some of these features function properly. So I'm not going to sit here and under-promise, over-deliver, or vice versa, and give you a release date on this, but let's just say get ready for it now, all right? What does Value Pack 5 bring? So Value Pack 5, the biggest thing that we're going to be bringing is multi-stream. And for my Ghostbuster fans out there, I couldn't resist having the image of don't cross the streams. There's a lot that happens. There's a lot of nomenclature here, right? I mean, there's multi-stream, there's stream this, stream that. So you don't cross the streams. We're going to spend a little bit of time breaking it down so you understand what Value Pack 5 is. And we're also going to hit a little bit on people recognition at the end. So Victoria is going to break down multi-stream from a Jabra PanaCast 50 Value Pack 5 perspective.
Awesome. Thanks, Eric. Hey, everyone. I'm Victoria. I work on product experiences here at Jabra. So before getting into Value Pack 5, let me just do a super quick overview of every video mode that the PanaCast 50 supports today. Every room is used a little bit differently. You might have a room where Eric Taylor speaks for 90% of the time and everyone else, is silent. You might have a room which is, everyone shares the speaking time. So we do have different video modes to support all of those different use cases. Based on our 180-degree camera, we have a full panoramic video. So if you want to see the full room at all times, you can do that. You can also crop off any empty spaces at the edge of a room to only focus in on the people. We call that intelligent zoom. For those Eric speaking 90% of the time instances, we have a virtual director mode where you get to see the active speakers zoom in on just them while they are speaking. And then the two most recent video modes that we've introduced, we'll spend a little more time here on the next slide too, are part of our new dynamic composition family of video features. So the first one we actually introduced as part of our Value Pack 2 back in August of 2022 now. And that is where we break down the meeting room into a single stream, but zoom in on the four most recent speakers in the room. And that dynamically updates as other people start talking. The new video mode that we are working on now that I'm really excited to show you is what we're calling multi-stream dynamic composition. So this is a Microsoft Teams room feature. And here, instead of sending one stream over to Microsoft, we're actually sending 3 simultaneous video streams. So let's take a closer look at that. So on the left is what you would see, and I know a lot of you are using this already in our single stream dynamic composition that is available today. One video stream showing that 2x2 grid. So on the left is what you would see with our single stream dynamic composition available today, where we show a 2x2 grid of the 4 most recent speakers in the room. On the right here is the new video mode that we're working on with Microsoft. This is called multi-stream dynamic composition. And in this, we show a close-up of the 2 most recent speakers in a meeting room, as well as the full room video, all at the same time. Another feature that works really well with this multi-stream dynamic composition is a feature that we've worked really closely with Microsoft on called people recognition. So in this mode, what we do is actually help Microsoft with what they call people recognition. So if you've ever been in a meeting and you're talking to a whole bunch of people and you might not know some of them, this feature is designed to address that. So as you can see, the people in the room are now getting their names applied onto their video streams in real time. So the PanaCast 50 helps Microsoft with this recognition, labeling of all the meeting room participants as in their video streams, as well as in the meeting room roster. Okay, so let's take a live look at what this looks like. So Eric, if you could forward over one to the video, please. So as you can see here, it's showing the 3 video streams from the meeting room all grouped together so that you get the context that these streams are coming from the meeting room. We show the current speaker, the person who spoke right before them, as well as a view of the full room so you can really understand the context of who else is in there, who is looking at who, gather some facial cues as well. And you do get those names applied on those video streams. Okay, so I think before Eric takes over again, would like to pause there and see if there are any questions.
Hey, so where do you go to actually set that up for each person that you want recognized?
That's a great question, Danny. So once this feature is available, and again, it's in development right now on both our side and Microsoft's side, but once it is available, you can go into each person in a company can go into their Teams settings and enable recognition from there. This is the same place where you would go to enable recognition for the intelligent speaker, where you can enroll your voice. And now when you're in a meeting, your voice gets recognized and you show up in the meeting transcript and all of the downstream Copilot activities.
And I would piggyback on that. Ken Ginsberg, I see your hand as well, but I would piggyback on that and also say for intelligent speaker, there are also some things that you have to do on the tenant side as well, right? You have to go in and enroll a voice print and apply some policies, which we're not going to get into here. That's all documented well by Microsoft. But I think that's kind of an important distinction, is that it's not just this easy slider that you do on the PanaCast 50. There's some work to be done at a tenant level as well, because we're not actually storing or processing any voices or faces or anything like that. We're basically the conduit to hand it to Microsoft.
Where do you see the toggling? Would it be in Jabra Direct to go between the multi-stream and the single stream for the composite view?
Yes, once the feature is generally available, there will be an option in Jabra Direct to enable multi-stream or use any of the other video modes that you would like.
Great questions. Questions on either Value Pack 4 or Value Pack 5, multi-stream, things of that nature, before we move on to the video bar system.
Victoria, Debbie had a question in the chat, which was which Teams Room version is going to be required for the people recognition? Is that a currently released version, or are we waiting on a new Teams Room version from Microsoft for that?
Yeah, I don't have a number to share, but it will be a new version that.
Okay, so not in market yet.
That's correct.
All right, so we're going to move on to the PanaCast 50 video bar system. Now, again, the difference between the PanaCast 50 and the PanaCast 50 video bar system is fundamentally the PanaCast 50 is that USB peripheral that you can use for bring your own meeting or to attach to a Windows-based room system for Teams rooms or Zoom rooms. The video bar system is the new Android-based device that has that Android compute built into it, all the connections on the back of the device, such as HDMI, USB, et cetera, to give you a full room system, and also pair it with the Jabra IP-based touch controller here. So a lot of runway on this device, as you can imagine, we have that powerful Android compute built into the bar. It gives us the options to do a lot more things on the device. Now, in so much as that, after the initial release of the video bar system, we had service release 1. So now service release is a bit different from a value pack. For us, it's kind of a little more low-key release. There's not a big press release. There aren't a lot of announcements around this. You won't get direct notification from Jabra. It's just sort of, I guess, quietly rolled out and made available to users of the video bar system. So that was released December 6th of 2023. We probably a lot of us may have missed it in the holiday rush. Video bar system wasn't top of your list for December, surprisingly enough. So it was released, and that is firmware 1.17.0-3. So if you look on your video bar system, you see an earlier version than that, you may have an update, or you will have an update available. So what's in it? So we did a lot of feature enhancements. One of the most sought after was the ability to enable and disable dynamic composition without a reboot. Probably the most often talked about feature of the video bar system is the fact that you can quickly toggle between intelligent zoom, virtual direct, or dynamic composition, or even do manual PTZ of the PanaCast 50. So dynamic composition wasn't previously there. Now it is. So in the middle of your Teams or your Zoom meeting, you can actually change between all of the camera modes for the video bar system. We even quietly snuck in some improved noise suppression. So that's under accessibility. So things like reducing interference from HVAC systems, those maybe what you call static noises in the background, those long droning things, right? In addition, we have static IP support. So if you're looking at your video bar system, if you're in the web UI, you won't see that. You have to do that directly from the panel. Just in general, it's bad practice to change network settings to a device that you are network connected to. So we make sure that you do that while you're local to the device so you don't lose your connection to the device. We now have one-click update for both devices. Previously, you had to update the bar, you had to update the touch controller. Now, when you click that update button, Both of those devices will go through their little update process. You'll see the progress bar. They'll restart, rock and roll. You also now have the ability to update firmware through the USB. If you were provided, say, a firmware file from Jabra support and you have to do a manual update on your device for whatever reason, you can now do that through USB. The web UI underwent a pretty large overhaul. As a person who lived in the web UI, you just go to the IP address of either the touch controller or the bar. If you lived in that web UI and you were manipulating, you'll see that a lot of stuff changed and maybe a few things moved just to make the quality of life a little bit better, such as pairing or unpairing use cases, like if you needed to replace a touch controller or you need to replace the video bar, or if you even wanted to use the video bar as a standalone, like you see beside me, where I've got a large touch display with a video bar system paired with it. I can now use the touch display as the controller paired with a video bar for the speakers, the microphone, and the camera. So we added that capability as well. Other fixes and improvements, we improved the video transition experiences for Intelligent Zoom, Virtual Director, and Manual PTZ. Basically just made it a little bit smoother. It's smooth as butter now. In initial launch, there was some reports of maybe just less than optimal framing, etc. We smoothed a lot of that out, just made it a little more pleasant. Updated the Zoom Room APK, which now enables direct guest join for Zoom rooms. Some various, and you couldn't have any sort of firmware release unless you put that ubiquitous mystery stability improvements and bug fixes. What are release notes without those, right? That was Service Release 1, Value Pack 1. Now this is kind of getting into the same territory as the Value Pack 5 for the PanaCast 50. Value Pack 1 for the PanaCast 50 video bar system. There's no final firmware version for me to provide today. I also don't have, I apologize, a firm release date on Value Pack 1, but we'll just go with Eric's favorite word, imminent. All right. So what are we targeting for Value Pack 1 for the PanaCast 50 video bar system? You asked for it, we delivered it. Bring your own device mode. Yay! I don't know how to do the confetti. So there is on the back of the PanaCast 50 video bar system a USB-C port. And folks have said, well, what does it do? That is going to be for BYOD mode. So if you have it in Teams Rooms mode or Zoom Rooms mode, you can actually use that USB-C port. Parker, keep me honest here because I haven't actually done it because you guys don't give me the fun stuff. But you plug it into your laptop, and what it's basically going to do is commandeer the speakers, the microphone, the camera of the video bar system, and allow you to use it with your laptop for the USB components. In so much as that, the little touch controller, instead of showing the Teams or the Zoom Room UI, will actually show a new Jabra UI to allow you to do audio and video manipulations from the touch controller while you're in BYOD mode. Did I get that right, Parker? Calling you out.
I just won't say anything, and that way, you know, there's no record. Yeah, you're on it, Eric.
Awesome. Cool. Thanks for that. In addition, for those organizations that use 802.1x authentication for your wired Ethernet, we now have a wizard that walks you through setting that up. An update to the Microsoft Teams Room APK and the company portal. So we're current with Microsoft on that functionality, and call state protection, which is pretty important. What that means is if you're going to be doing any updates or changes to the video bar system administratively, it will not interfere with an active call or session on the video bar system. Generally poor practice from an IT perspective to reboot a device in the middle of someone's meeting. Any questions on the Value Pack 1 coming to the PanaCast 50 video bar system?
All right, so in this BYOD mode, let's say you have a wireless conferencing sharing solution like ScreenBeam, ClickShare, Immersive, Airtame. Would you take that USB cable and plug it into that if you want the wireless, or do you configure it differently?
So when we're looking at these third-party solutions that offer the wireless conferencing capabilities, we are going to be looking at supporting those by having the USB connected from that third-party device into USB-A port. That's not something that we're going to be exhaustively testing for Value Pack 1, but it is something we want to look at bringing on in the future. So it's one of those, from a technical perspective, and Danny knows me and knows where I come from, I expect it to work. But from from a what do we want to see perspective, it may be a little bit longer before we start talking about that in an official capacity.
Yeah, that's a great distinction. Thanks for that question, Danny.
Question that I have on that is one of the bigger problems we encounter all the time in system designs is knowing when something's in BYOD mode and when's not. So my assumption is that with this USB connection from the bar, it's meant to be a direct connect to a laptop. However, in a lot of rooms we're doing, we need signal to a table. So any sort of active extenders, are they going to fully push that into BYOD mode at all times, or what is the thought on that?
So that's something that we're looking at testing for this VP1 launch, is to be able to give you kind of a consolidated or a confirmed list of these are extension solutions that we've looked at and know will work properly with this new mode and capabilities, so that on launch day for that firmware, you'd be able to see which devices we know will work with that.
So let me ask the question a little differently, because I'm not sure you're fully following me. So generally, when you plug in a laptop, you have a 5-volt sync to it, and that's what drives it. Like extender, almost every extender, to my knowledge, on the market will, even without a laptop connected, will push it into that 5-volt sync being shared. So that has to be turned off. So I'm not sure if you have any workaround to that real easily. Or
I believe that the way that we are implementing will actually give a bit of a graceful user experience to work around on that, but it is something that's still under development. And so I know exactly what you're talking about. I am following you on the technical side of things. I just have not tested that myself yet, so I don't want to tell you something that hasn't gone through a test internally, at least. But I recognize the problem that you're facing there.
Excellent. Any more questions on PanaCast 50 Video Bar System Value Pack 1? All right, getting down to the last of it, the PanaCast 50 Video Bar System. I will caveat this by saying that this is all future release with firmware and release date to be determined, but we kind of want to give you an idea of what is over the horizon beyond Value Pack 1. These things are constantly being evaluated, tested, shuffled within the product cycle, but just want to share the things that are kind of top of mind for us in the video bar system world. Dynamic composition 2.0, bringing a single stream. And Victoria, I guess I want to kind of kick this bullet over to you to sort of talk through.
I'll start with some of the feedback we received from about a year and a half of having dynamic composition on the market. So we've had 2 recurring feature requests from our customers. One of them is, wait, you're showing me a close-up of 4 people in the room. That's fantastic. What about everyone else? I at least want to know who else is in that room, or that there's more people in the room. So one of the things we're doing with this new layout is adding, in addition to 4 people, we're actually showing the full room as well at the same time. So that's still all in a single stream. So nothing will change on your side in order to enable this, but you will get this new layout. The second most requested feature that we've received is to add a black border in between each of the tiles for each person there. So that's another thing that we're adding in this new layout for dynamic composition. We call it just internally 1.0 and 2.0. That's not a public-facing name, but that's just for us to keep track of these changes and so we can talk about them easier. So that is the new layout for dynamic composition coming to PanaCast 50 VBS in a future release.
Excellent. One more, Victoria. We are also looking at Zoom Smart Gallery support.
That is correct. So on this one, what we're going to be doing is instead of just seeing what you see on the left, which is one video stream coming from the PanaCast 50 VBS to Zoom, we're actually going to be supporting their smart gallery, where we will show 6 simultaneous video streams. So you'll see the full room as you do now, but you'll also see a close-up of all the people in the meeting room in 5 additional video streams, as you see shown here. So that's also coming. I don't have a firm release date for that just yet, but that's something we're actively working on.
Very cool. In addition, we're looking at some additional Wi-Fi features, so pre-shared key for WPA, WPA2, PSK, support for Zoom and team meetings over Wi-Fi, and the Wi-Fi installation and settings through the web UI. You'll be able to change those as well, in addition to 802.1x authentication for wireless. So really bringing out some robust features within Wi-Fi on the video bar system. All right. Any additional questions, comments, smart remarks before we wrap it up? We have regaled you for 40 minutes about PanaCast 50, past, present, and future. Hopefully this has helped.
No, so this is good stuff. So one of the issues that we always had as we're demoing the Jabra experience room here is we had to reboot every time we wanted to change the framing option. So now I need to go back and see if that's updated yet. And then I've been testing this guy here, the little framing mode. I got the PanaCast 50 here. And it's cool to see the little red dots over your little head. But I think I got too much in here because sometimes it doesn't pick me up. But anyway.
Yeah,
Anyways,
I would clearly define that the PanaCast 50, the USB guy, is still going to require a reboot between modes. It was candidly never designed to be able to be that robust as far as like being able to do the mode switching. The video bar system, the Android variant, got more horsepower under the hood, right, and allows us the ability to do that in real time. So just kind of want to make sure everybody's clear on that. I did see one. I'm just kind of glancing at chat. Apologies if I miss anything. Ken Ginsberg also asked, will BYOD via USB-C support enough power to charge a laptop as well? I believe the answer to that, Parker, is no.
Correct. The answer is no. And I was typing, yeah, I got another response in there. Not only is it not something that we can just flip switch on, but we don't have spare power from the power supply to be able to deliver enough power to give some meaningful charge to a laptop. So, you know, read into that what you will, that I at least know all of that in terms of how important and how much we're looking at, you know, what could possibly be done in the future.
So yeah, your mic is enabled. I'm still showing you as muted. He's going to write.
I was gonna say, he dropped a question in the chat. He said the microphone pickup
there it is.
distance,
Mic pickup
auxiliary
distance.
microphones for larger meeting spaces.
Gotcha. Mic pickup distance. Gosh, I hate the specs are on the website. If you want to kind of go, I hate to be that guy. I don't mean to read the manual for you. I just hate to answer that question just because it is so subjective as far as, you know, acoustics in a room and how well the sound travels, that sort of thing. We would say approximately 18 feet. Same microphone as 15 to 20. Yeah, sure. So I guess I would say that's approximately right from what the specs say. Again, I think that's probably the max that you would push the mics to. But again, your mileage may vary, right? You may have a very acoustically sound room, and quantitatively, you may think it sounds great at 30 feet. We wouldn't advertise that, but it's possible. So yeah, 15 to 20 is a pretty good gauge. And this PanaCast 50 and the video bar system use the same microphone and speaker and video array. We've just added an Android compute. So if you look at the video bar system, it looks a little bit larger. That's to accommodate the compute. There's no upgraded audio or video capabilities on the device. So they share the same spec. Okie doke. Hopefully that helped, Chris. Yes, maybe. We got to get Chris one. Hope Chris wins the Evolve 2 Flex headset. Go for it. Maybe we can make a special concession.
Hey, Eric, Debbie had a question in the chat. She said if she wanted a live demo, who would she call on the Jabra side to get a, you know, real-time experience?
Good question. That's going to throw the technical guy. Do we have anybody? Do you have a Jabra account rep there, Debbie? Do you have someone you work with, like on the audio side for speakerphones, microphones, headsets, anything like that?
I know who her rep is, so I can follow up with her.
Okay. So Ross got you. But yes, we'd love to do that for you so you can get a customized demonstration and discussion. Do deep dives like that all day long. Matt, we're gonna do a little backcountry skiing and take this over to PanaCast 20. But some of those smart features, can we have them added to the PanaCast 20? We had the same space following issues with people walking behind desks. I think largely the answer is probably going to be it's a different intended use case. The PanaCast 20 is a personal video device. It was never intended to be like a room type of video device. I have the same issue, I think, in my room. Just every now and then, like if I turn away from the PanaCast 20, it'll recognize someone else, and it'll see now it's not going to do it. Sometimes there you go. It's going to pick up Luke because I turned away from it. It just was never designed to be a multi-party device. It's a personal video device. So I'll go ahead and just say we're going to wrap this one up. If you got any final questions, raise your hand or put it in chat, but get registered for the next one. We're going to bring some additional content to you all in March. You can use this QR code to get registered for the February 28th. Fortunately for you, I believe Mr. Blaylock will be back and you don't have to watch Eric muddle through PowerPoint. So get registered for that. And hopefully, if you got any more questions, we got some answers. And if you would, just scan that QR code there and tell us how we did. And you know what? We want to continue bringing valuable content to you throughout 2024 and beyond. So please let us know what you want to talk about. We are more than happy to do our research, do our preparation, and make this hour worth your while. Let's see. In your background, you had the PanaCast 50 mounted to digital whiteboards. Are there specific mounting brackets? There are no specific mounting brackets, but the PanaCast 50 and the video bar system do have a VESA mount, and that's actually what I'm using over there behind me. So our little VESA mounts for displays. Outstanding. All right. Well, we are 47 minutes past the hour. We're going to give everybody time to rest up before their next virtual meeting, and we really appreciate everyone's attendance. Hope you got something valuable out of it today. All right. Thank y'all.